share with you a powerful interpretation of a story that appears in the Midrash. It has a really good, I think, a strong message for us when it comes to trauma and things we dealt with in the past and how to reframe them in the present. So it starts from a question. Rashi has a question on the Parsha. After the brothers buried Yaakov, it says, right afterwards, it says, and Joseph's brothers saw their father was dead. And they said, perhaps Joseph will nurse hatred against us. He will surely pass all the evil that we did to him. Meaning they already lived together for 17 years in Egypt after Joseph revealed himself to his brothers. They're still worried that he's going to harm them. What Rashi asks on this is, he says, what does it mean that Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead? They knew he was dead. They were at the funeral. They brought him to bury him. What's he talking about? What was so worrisome about that recognition? So Rashi has an interpretation here. He says that they saw that Yosef wasn't really inviting them to the meals the same way that he did when their father was alive. And they got worried. But there's a whole other interpretation, a really fascinating one. It appears in the Midrash. And it says like this. It says, what were they worried about? They saw during their travels, after they buried Yaakov, their father, it says that Yosef went to go visit the pit. Go back to the place of his trauma, to the pit. And at the pit, they saw him, according to one Midrash, just like looking in there. According to another Midrash, intentionally thinking there, spending some time making a bracha, blessing God for saving him in that very same spot. When they saw him going through all the trauma from earlier years at the place of the pit, at the place of the tragedy, they started to worry. Maybe he's going back through everything we did to him. He's going to harm us now that our father's not here anymore. So that's the Midrash. Now the question on this is, where did Yosef get thrown into a pit? Anybody know? In Shechem. Shechem is toward the north. They buried their father in Hebron, which is toward the south. Egypt is even further south. So if you think about this, they started in Egypt according to this explanation. They went to go bury their father in Hebron. Then, according to this, they went up to north to go to go to the pit, and then back down to Hebron, and then back down to Egypt. How long of a trip is that? I ChatGPT'd it. It's a day walk from Hebron, full 24 hours to Shechem. So to figure out what's going on here? Why were they doing that? And was that the only reason? So I don't know. Maybe he convinced them to go for a walk, go there because he had to make peace with his past. I don't know. But what stands out with this Midrash is that Yosef went out of his way. They got permission to go bury their father, but Yosef went out of his way to go back to the past. And I think sometimes we don't want to face our past. People move as far away from their past as they can. What he's telling us here is that we shouldn't just run away from our past. Sometimes going into our past, even to the depths of our past. That was the depths of the depths. He was thrown in a pit by his brother, left to die. He went to the depths of his past. And through that, he was able to emerge with reframing. It says right afterwards, he says to his brothers, and his brothers came to him, they were worried that he was going to harm them. He says, you didn't send me, Hashem sent me. Hashem was involved in all this. Yosef was able to go back to that hurtful moment and be able to see Hashem even in that moment. I'm just picturing myself, what it must have been like for him to go back there. And I was thinking about this, an amazing thought. He's going to the pit. He's probably seeing himself as a 17-year-old with everything, his brother, all the tragedy, and then kind of seeing the whole train of events that brought him back there, now in a position of power. He would have never have thought it back then. And so he was able to get perspective, and that's why he made a bracha. So I think what it's telling us with this whole idea of they went another day out of walking all the way, maybe it's telling us we have to go out of our way to not run away from the past, but to live to face it, and sometimes to lean into it. When we do that, we can heal, and we can reframe it, hopefully, when the pain kind of subsides a little bit in a more divine way.